Yes, we can. So just bear with us. We're going to try and start anyway. And can you hear me in the back of the room? Yes. All right. And if you couldn't hear me, you wouldn't know what I was saying, right? So can I ask the district clerk to call the meeting to order? Again, so just bear with us. We're going to try and start anyway.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Education Action and Planning meeting. Today is April the 5th, 2022. Trustee Michelle Wilson. Present. Trustee Pedro Quintanilla.
Present.
Vice President Lloyd Ewing.
Present.
Board President Robert Triano Jr.
Present.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you, District Clerk. Just note for the record that Trustee Rodney Keynes, Trustee Robin Bowling, and Trustee Fletch Dickerson all intend to be here tonight, but they all had something that to take care of before they could get here. So they will be arriving mid-meeting. Can I ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and also a moment of silent reflection for the people of Ukraine who are going through continued difficulties, and ask that you also, besides keeping them in your thoughts, also celebrate them for their resiliency, bravery, and for their courage. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. I want to thank all of you who are able to come tonight, and I know there may have been some confusion about where's the meeting, and I hope none of you actually went to the high school expecting that to be in the usual location. I want to thank our many staff members at the Westbury High School, Westbury School District, and also here at Yes We Can, for their help in helping us to be able to be here. And that included getting musical instruments here. Hopefully the live stream is working so that nothing is different from an ordinary meeting. We thank all of you. We would mention names, but we're sure to leave somebody out, and that would just insult them. We wouldn't want to do that. So thank you, everybody. You know who you are, and the superintendent and I will be sending a note of thanks to you for that. The reason we had to do the change is because the board had agreed at the last meeting that we would turn the auditorium over for a play rehearsal. And Mr. Zimmer, the building principal, is here. When is that play, by the way?
Friday and Saturday night at 7 o'clock.
This Saturday? This Friday and this Saturday?
Yes.
April 8th and April 9th?
Yes.
At 7 p.m.
You're exactly right, sir.
It's always good to tell the board president he's right? Even when he's not right, but thank you. So, and the name of the play is Do You Want to Dance? A jukebox music. So I hope all of you will come, not just, thank you all for being here tonight, I hope you also come Friday or Saturday at 7 o'clock in the Westbury High School. Tickets are $10, and children under 10. Students and senior citizens get in for $5. So they're doing play rehearsal tonight, and the board had agreed to move our meeting to either the Little Theater in the high school or to the library, also in the high school, which wouldn't have caused much inconvenience for anybody. But because last board meeting simultaneously was the induction ceremony for a National Honor Society. So neither the superintendent nor any of the board members were able to go and share in the celebration for those inductees and for their parents. So we agreed or decided that it would be nice to recognize them at the board meeting, which is what we're going to do tonight. But we didn't realize that there are nearly 100 scholars that are to be recognized and inducted. We are really proud of that. So that created a question for us. Should we have this many people packed into the Little Theater or the library? that seems like a good idea in this age of COVID and other viruses that are spreading. So we decided to hold it here, and I hope everybody is appreciative of the accommodations, and we will return to the high school next month. We're coming up on the 10th anniversary of Yes We Can. It was first opened on September 12th of 2012. And I just wonder, who is making their first trip to Yes We Can tonight? Okay, so we've got one person, we have two people, who at least we've moved it so they had a chance to see Yes We Can. Tonight, typically, we're gonna move to approving the minutes of the prior board meetings. We would typically then move to a presentation, and what's listed here on your agenda is the budget presentation, a report from the superintendent, and then a report from the board president. We're gonna move out of order, and I'm gonna ask the board for a motion to go out of order so that we can first honor and recognize the students, and then we will do the budget presentation. Hope everybody understands that we want our scholars to go home and continue to do their study. So can I have a motion to
Good evening, community members. I also see members of the Westbury Union Free School District, leadership team, and staff. Those who are here and require Spanish translation, our translators in the back waving her hand. Please make sure that you see her. We want this meeting to be accessible to each and every person sitting in this room and at home. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I now have a motion to go take the agenda out of order and to first handle commendations in section 4? We will do that ahead of, well, I'm going to first take a motion to approve the minutes. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes of March 1st, March 8th, March 15th, March 23rd, and March 28th?
So moved.
Been moved by Trustee Wilson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice President Ewing. Ayes. Trustee Quintanilla.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Dickerson. Aye. Vice President Ewing.
Aye.
And I, Robert Troiano, vote aye. Motion carries unanimously 5-0. May I now have a motion to take the agenda out of order and to now skip to section 4, which is commendations. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Quintanilla. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Wilson. It's been moved and seconded. Ayes. Trustee Quintanilla.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Dickerson.
Aye.
Vice President Ewing.
Aye.
And I, Robert Troiano, vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. We'll now move to the first commendation. And I'll ask everybody to silence their phones. And also want to note, for those of you that are listening in on live stream, we're hoping that you can both see us and hear us. If you're having any problems being able to, with the sound or the visual, please text me at 516-270-5413, and we will let our technicians who are here now, let them know that so they can address it. Dr. Chase?
Good evening once again. Good evening. We're going to celebrate. You know, it always makes the board meetings so different. It gives a different tone when you start off with celebrating our scholars. As Mr. Troiano, President Troiano indicated, on March 23rd, we actually held an emergency board meeting, and unfortunately, that prevented us from attending the National Honor Society ceremony. But we knew that it was important to acknowledge and recognize our scholars, to celebrate them, and frankly speaking, we didn't care if there were 250 of them. We knew that tonight we had to do that. And so, we do have over 90 scholars to recognize for the National Honor Society, but we also have scholars that we're going to recognize for their athletic acumen. We understand that we have 2 students who participated on the track team, and they are to be recognized and noted. Where is Lenny? Lenny, stand up. Is a junior on the Westbury High School boys varsity team. He finished first place in the triple jump in Nassau County AAA division. I'm not done, there's more. He was coached by Westbury High School coaches Donald Ross, Drew Harrison, Darren Harrison, and Eric Banks. 3 out of 4 coaches are Westbury High School alumni. We salute you, Lenny. Job well done. Lenny, on behalf of the board, we'd like to present this award to you in honor for a job well done. Congratulations. Give it up for Lenny. And is Jacob Taylor here? Jacob, where are you? Come on. Jacob is a senior on the Westbury High School boys varsity team. He finished first in the high jump in the Nassau County AAA division. He was also coached by Westbury High School coaches Donald Ross, Drew Harrison, Darren Harrison, and Eric Banks. 3 of the 4 coaches are Westbury High School alumni. Everyone, we salute Jacob for a job well done. And Lenny.
Lenny, how far did you jump?
Can you show us?
How far?
42.7.
42 feet. Jacob, how high did you jump? Well, just over me.
Nice job, gentlemen. What makes me proud is that we can always celebrate the AAA at Westbury. We celebrate the athletics, we celebrate the arts, and we celebrate the academics. I'm going to move to the arts. Oscar Mungier. So I met Oscar a couple of months back, and I met him in Mr. Zimbler's office, and he was in a meeting with Mr. Zimbler, and Mr. Zimbler introduced me to Oscar, and so forth and so on, and then, we kind of just, I see him in passing, but then what I remember mostly about Oscar is that when we were in a crunch at the spelling bee, and we needed someone to dress as a bee for our youngest scholars, without hesitation, Oscar got into a bee costume and consoled our students. That's the importance of teaching social emotional support, social emotional well-being, and here it is demonstrated by one of our scholars. But that's not why he's here tonight. Oscar has been honored by the New York State School Music Association, better known as NYSBA, with an invitation to perform with the All-State Honors Jazz Ensemble. Students who receive these honors are ranked by NYSBA through competitive audition. During the audition, Oscar performed from a published list of music rated at the highest difficulty level. Go, Oscar. In addition, Oscar had to demonstrate technical knowledge through scales and his music literacy through sight reading. The Honors Jazz Ensemble accepts between 20 and 25 students from the state, but not only accepts one baritone saxophone player, but only accepts one. Is that you? As I continue this, I'm going to ask Mr. Brad Johnson, who's the director of music, who is standing back so proudly. You got to see him grinning from ear to ear. Can you just come on up with us, please? As we celebrate Oscar's acceptance on baritone saxophone makes him the current #1 ranked high school jazz baritone saxophone player in the state. The process of reaching this level of performance began when Oscar entered the music program in 1st grade. Tell me you were at a Westbury school in first grade. There you go. I just need to clarify. And would not have been possible without the support of his family. Parents, please stand. And music teachers. Like music teachers. Oscar studied general music with Mr. Gray Brenner and saxophone with Miss Christine Gigliotti at Drexel Elementary School. Classical and jazz saxophone with Miss Tamara Edwards at Westbury Middle School. Instrumental Philharmonic performance with Mr. Bradley Johnson at the 9th Grade Academy, and is currently studying instrumental performance with Mr. Michael Rubenstein at Westbury High School. Would you guys, where is he? So community, when we call these students scholars, I want you to understand what we mean by scholars. You see scholarship today. You see athleticism. You see so many wonderful things in our students, and I cannot be more proud. But let me ask you a question. After reading this brief synopsis, if you will, of Oscar's musical performing arts acumen, you guys want to hear a little bit of what made him who he is, what got him to be #1 in the state? You guys want to hear this? I'd like to give Mr. Johnson or any of his, I'd like to give you an opportunity just to speak on Oscar's behalf.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for the support. I know you don't want to hear me, so I'll just say it quickly. Oscar started on the saxophone, I think, in 4th grade, which is the same time that I was hired here. And the district wanted to really build its music program, and we have done so much, and we have got so many instruments for the students, and we have done so many things, and we've had students who are all county, we've had students who are all Long Island, who have won concerto competitions now, and we've had students get into Carnegie Hall, but now we have a student who's being recognized for the entire state, and it's just amazing. And without the support of the Board of Education, there's no way that could have happened. We've tripled the number of students who participate in performing music over the last 9 years, and we just have built an infrastructure for the students so that they can be successful, and it's amazing. And it would have been done without all those teachers that were mentioned, and Ms. Rubenstein is going to say something really briefly, because he's right here at the end, who's been working with Oscar the last 3 years as he finalized all of that work.
Well, just first, as a humble educator, it's an honor that you allotted us this time today to present one of our acclaimed students. I also need to take a second and just mention that Jacob is a senior member of the band as well as on trumpet, so congratulations. And Oscar is just a great example of the many good things that we are trying to do here for the students of the Westbury community. So we are all very proud of him, and we're just so excited that this kind of honor came his way. Because it is quite unique, and to be considered the #1 jazz baritone saxophone player in the state. We're very excited for him and for that. He's continuing on as a music education major at the same place that I went to, Hofstra University. And I don't know, these kids always say that they don't just want a job in music education, they want my job. So, which is scary, I say that. But we're also being joined tonight by a Hofstra educator who works in the music department and will, I guess, eventually be a professor for Oscar, and who's somebody that I went to kindergarten with. So this is Professor Jonathan Waxman, who's going to be joining Oscar in performance.
Dr. Dickinson actually played the saxophone himself, alto saxophone. And I don't know if Vice President Ewing does or not, but he was behind that screen playing, going like this, like he knows how to play it, so. Oscar, that was really amazing. Your range you have is striking to me. I want you to hurry up, get through Oscar, get through National Green Teaching, and we'll be happy to welcome you back here. Congratulations to the family. I can see your smile, even though you've got a mask on. You must be very proud.
You know, Mr. Piano, and it was, I definitely blame myself for this one. What we did not do is that we did not acknowledge those who came with Jacob and Winnie. So I want to acknowledge those family, friends, mentors who are here with these two young men as well. Would you please stand to be acknowledged?
We want to acknowledge, of course, the parents and the family that helped raise Jacob and Lenny, but I also want to acknowledge the coaches. Mr. Harrison is here. We have some great athletes in Westbury, but it takes coaching to bring the talent out. And year after year after year after year after year after year, the track team outperforms everybody else in the county. So thank you, Drew, and all the other coaches that participated. And we can't mention you, Drew, without also mentioning Coach Ross, because he's an actual institution now. So thanks for the evening.
talked about the athletics, got some rock star scholars, we talked about the arts, we want to thank Oscar, and now let's get to the academics. The third of our triple A, the National Honor Society. For those of you who are watching, I believe we're at 47 now, and for those of you who are here with us at the Yes We Can Center, on March 23rd, as indicated earlier, the Westbury High School held its Honor Society Award and induction ceremony, and they held it at 7 p.m. in the Cecil Rice Auditorium. So some may ask, well, what is the National Honor Society? The National Honor Society is a nationwide organization for high school students in the United States and outlying territories. The National Honor Society requires some sort of service to the community, schools, and other organizations. There's certain criteria that students, scholars, should I say, had to meet in order to be inducted or even considered to be a part of the National Honor Society. Such requirements include students must meet particular membership that's outlined by the school's chapter to be eligible to be invited. The chapter requires to publish its qualifications so that students are clear about it. There's a scholarship component where students must meet a particular GPA, 85, B, 3.0 on a 4-point scale, or its equivalent. There's service. This means this involves voluntary contributions made by a student to the community, as I said, and it's done without compensation. And then there's a leadership component. And what that means is that student leaders are those who are resourceful, good problem solvers, and idea contributors. And then there's a character aspect to it. The student of good character is cooperative, demonstrates high standards of honesty and reliability, shows courtesy, concern, and respect for others, and generally maintains a clean, disciplinary record. Now we know that there are so many scholars in our school district who meet that requirement, but students must be in grades 10 through 12 in order to meet that requirement. This evening, we'd like to acknowledge 94 of them. So 94. That's the data and that's the information that we have to get out there about our Westbury scholars that meet the criteria that I just described. It's not given to everyone, but we had that many students in that grade band to qualify. Let's give them a round of applause. There are so many of them. I'm just going to call out the names. I'm going to ask my fantastic board to help me with some of those names. To help me with some of those names because there are so many. And then I'm going to ask for the high school team. In fact,
I think that's a good idea.
high school team, come on up. We just enlisted you to help us to identify our scholars. Mrs. Zimler, don't be shy. Dr. Pemberton, I see you. Dr. Pellick, just because it's Assistant Principal's Week doesn't mean that you don't have to come up here. You don't need to come up here. Let's go.
I was hanging back to take photos.
I know.
And there's a really good photo of Oscar on Twitter right now.
Awesome. Is it trending?
It is. It's the most popular trend on Twitter right now.
There we go.
Everywhere. Yeah.
All right. So there are a variety of categories, and so I'm just going to ask the high school team if they can just help me out. And the first category is the National Art Society inductees. The names are here. We have certificates. If you can just help to read out those names, Dr. Pellick, I would greatly appreciate it.
There's no greater honor.
There you go. Spoken like a real administrator.
Once in a while. Juan Castro, Ashbound Charity, Leticia Giordano,
Please stand.
and forgive me, my glasses are not on, so I'm doing the best I can. Here. Manaya Guman, Maria Guardado Sevilla, Rondell Jackson, Gil Lauriston, Fran Manaldo Fuentes, Alexa Martinez, Luis Pilato, Sophia Pratt, Susana Rothman, Peter Marie Serens, Anderson Luis, Casey Mendoza, Nyla Cruz, Amana Manzoor, Alexander Mungia, who is Oscar's younger brother. Play.
Please stand. When your name is called, we ask that you stand and please stay standing.
Abigail Vargas, Cesar Velasquez Espino, and Alex Zigo Gunsing. Please stand and be acknowledged at this time. I think it's your shoe out. Is that
And for our Music Honor Society, our principal, Mr. Zebula.
Thank you. Inductees into the Tri-M Music Society, Honor Society are Daniela Abrego, Jessica Almazan, Haley Bonilla Ortiz, Shayna Darius, Soraya Roy, Stalia Edward, Diana Fuentes, Swendy Fuentes, Jasmine Guevara, Jada Hines, Chelsea Johnson, Cheyenne Khan, Kenny Lazo, Andrew Lee, Linda Lee, Jesse Manzano, Michelle Medina, Diego Monroy, Marianis Moquet, Kyle Noble, Danielle Trejo Ramirez, Leah Tunel, Zane Sosa,
Let's give it up for these two. How about science?
All right.
Yes,
All right. All right. Next up, we have inductees into our New York State Science Honor Society. Just a first out I apologize in advance for any mispronunciation. Riyam Abdur, Jessica Almanza Nava, Leila Antoine, Alasofa Babalola, Isabella Barrios Hill, Grant Bolin, Jada Kahi, Talia Ramirez. Yes, Giselle Cruz. Carla Cruz Bonilla. Stephen Darras. Tanisha Plazami. Jessica Gilbert. Wilani Joseph. Jacqueline Mendez. Marcus Mazier. Oscar Lizette Napomucino. Vicky Pearson. Leslie Portillo. John Reyes. Elizabeth Santil. John here. Elizabeth Santil. Laiba Shahid. Deborah Soto. Diana Sosa. Mom, stand up. Stand up. Sharon Torres Segovia. Ventura. Up there. All right, let's give it up for our.
Okay, those honorees and mommy. Come on, join us, mommy.
gentlemen, the New York State Science Honor Society is relatively new to Westbury. It's the first time we're publicly having it out here. And to start an honor society is no small feat. And to celebrate the advisor for the Science Honor Society and long-term science teacher here at Westbury High School, Ms. Ottaviano. Please rise and be acknowledged. I regret to inform you we do not have a certificate for you.
Okay, I'd like to call the names for those scholars who were inducted into the National French Honor Society. Faculty advisor, Sarah Mason, is she here? That's all right. She's here in spirit. Is Sadie Campbell here? I should know that. Is that Charmaine? Yeah. Okay. You know I should know that. Jose Alvarez. Marvin Cruz Rivera. Anaya Desser. Kayla Lewis. Jessley Manzano. Love it. Nathan Navarrete. Arij Nawaz. Nelf Renee. Ola St. Leger. That's all right, come on through. Hey, Dr. Kelly.
It brings me great pleasure to recognize the honorees of the Spanish Honor Society. So as I break your name, please stand. I think you figured it out by now. Okay, Omar Ahmad Ventura, Jennifer Amaya Cruz, Luis Andrade Herrera, Brian Alvarado, Kimberly Alvarez Terrell, Jennifer Alvarez Flores, Isa Amjad, Ziochil Cruz, Geraldo Avios, Yemeni Arias, Irving Bonilla, Carla Cruz, Harry Cruz, Stephen Darius, Adrina Flores, Salomon Velasquez, Karen Luis, Andrea Flores, Luis Trian, is that right? Thank you. Would you like we have 2 pages of Spanish Honor Society inductees. I'm about 25% of the way there. Karen Garcia, Andres Flores, Dania Castellanos, Roberto Lopez, Yasmin Sorto, Alicio Hernandez, David Delgado, Cassiana Jean, Joseph, Johan Lara, Andrena Lira Ino, Raquel Lopez, Rafael Madriz, Jose Menjavar Ortega, Alexander Munguia, Yemeni Ponce Zavala, Michelle Paz Alvarenga, Washington Alvarado, Merlin Menjavar, Amalai Sanchez, Leslie Sanchez, David Torres, William Tercios, Brenda Vigil, Ashley Villatoro Rodriguez, Giovanni Yanez. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to all new inductees.
As students are coming up, I want to recognize our Tri-M Music advisor, our society advisor, Mr. Ruby C, for all your hard work as well. Thank you, sir. honor societies, our National Honor Society. I'm proud to announce our president of that honor society to read our inductees.
Except the sound's fine on the stream, so.
Omar Ahmad Ventura, Anissa Ahmed, Adriana Flores Alatorre, Marcos Alvarenga Ortega, Isla Ashley Rose Jesus, Kimberly Alvarez Cartamo, Claudia Cardenas Ramirez, Joanna Cervantes, Brianna Destrat, Karen Garcia, Mitchell Gonzalez, Fernando Guardado, Chiquitira Guevara, Jasmine Guevara, Michael L. Hernandez, Dalen Hidalgo, Adriana Lira Hino, Joanne Lara, Julia Lara, Andrew Lee, Linda Lu, Tia Malloy, Alani Mahabad, Casey Mendoza, Alexander Mundia, Gabby Salas Munoz, and that's everyone. And I'd also like to thank the National Honor Society Executive Board in the back. Thank you for joining us tonight. Apologies from our director, Ms. Houston, who couldn't make it. Thank you, everyone.
This is what student empowerment looks like, right? Absolutely. We gave them leadership roles and she goes through the So now I'm just going to ask the community members who are here, I know you've been very patient, if you would just indulge us for about maybe 5 minutes. I think it'd be fitting that our school board take a picture with our new inductees.
I'm happy to state you have 6 more honorees.
Oh,
Derek, will you please read them all? Sorry.
there we go.
Maurice Nawaz, Jeffrey Perez, Monica Reyes, Sana Rubentham, William Furcios, and Brianna Amaya Villalobos.
All righty. So Liz help us position.
That's fine.
Over here like this? No, it's not. Sade, this young lady will come forward. Yeah, you guys are, there you go. Hey, Mom. Oh, we need Mom, we need Mom in this picture. Representing her daughter, Diana.
Nope, I don't do pictures. Nope.
How y'all doing? Like this?
You can do that too. I'll get on this. Come back. So we should all be looking at this gentleman with the green sweater. Okay, and then the paparazzi. Please, go ahead, take your picture. Awesome. Ooh, good. Thank you. Congratulations to each and every one of
So what they say was wrong with that? I don't know, they're just not
To all of our honor society members, nice to have your attention. To all of our honor society members and our athletes and our Oscars, I just want to thank you all for being here. You give us great glory. There's so much noise about bad news about young people. Newsday will never, unfortunately, cover this. But we're happy to have you here, and we are going to put it on our social media so your names get out to the public. For the students that are here, you can feel free to leave now and go study. And the parents are welcome to leave as well to get an official pass. We're setting up now for the budget presentation, so we hope that you will stay for that. If you need to go home, you have a good time to leave while we're setting up the reminders. And there are cookies and snacks.
Say cookies on your way out, please. That's free.
Oh, you already saw it. You good?
Yeah, where's the place where's the place to be?
We are about ready. Can I ask everybody to take a seat, Mr. Zimba? Not to call anybody out, but I'm glad you have a good sense of humor. Okay. We are going to have the a budget presentation of this year's draft budget. The expectation is that after we make the presentation and take questions from audience members tonight, both in person and also we're live streaming, that there'll be a special, Dr. Chase is going to talk about this, there'll be a special email address set up so that people can ask questions, and there'll be responses to that from Dr. Chase and from Mary O'Neill, and then those will be posted on our website, so everybody gets the benefit of any questions that's asked and the responses that come. The plan is that on next Monday, April 11th, I believe is the right date, there will be a special meeting of the board where the board will again take questions from the community and then adopt the budget that night. Must tell you that I am somewhat jealous of Dr. Chase this evening because she has the honor of presenting this year's budget. But this is, in my estimation, the boldest and most ambitious budget in Westbury's history. I am very excited about the scope of it and how comprehensive it is. There is something here for everybody in ways that we've never been able to do before in Westbury, because we also always suffered from a lack of adequate funding. That got addressed 2 years ago. The pathway to addressing it got addressed through increases in foundation aid that the Westbury School District has been fighting for many years, and Dr. Chase will take us through some of those initiatives. And I also want to point out, because he's here, Chester McGibbon had an instrumental role going back as far as 1999, or maybe it was 2000, when he was one of the Westbury parents that launched the suit against the state for inadequately funding schools per the Constitution of New York State. So it was a long battle, and we are now in the second year of the state finally meeting 100% of the foundation aid amount that's created in its own budget. But the good news is that there will be significant enhancements to our instructional program. There will be significant enhancements to our facilities infrastructure. And for you taxpayers here, there will be a significant benefit to all taxpayers in the Westbury School District. So I am jealous, but I turn the mic back over now to Dr. Chase.
I don't have to say anything now because I think Mr. Triano just gave the entire budget presentation. There's absolutely nothing left to say at this point. But no, he is absolutely right. This is a very ambitious, robust budget. I've sat in the superintendent's seat for close to a decade now, about 8.5, maybe about 9 years. Kind of lost count, but I've never seen a budget constructed this way. The board is extremely meticulous about what this budget entails and what we're going to put in it. And what we did was we went back to the vision, we went back to the mission. I want to thank our school leaders who are here. School leaders, can you please stand? And if we can pan the camera over to them, please stand up. I want everybody to see you. Because they played a major role. Dr. Field, Dr. Gennaro, you are administrator, Dr. Thomas, and Top. They played a very significant role in developing this budget. In December of 2021, when Ms. O'Neill first came onto the scene as a cabinet member, she immediately met with school administrators along with Dr. Ronald Valente, our assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction. And we asked the administrators to give us a wish list. We knew we couldn't honor everything on the wish list, but we knew that we needed to meet the needs of each and every administrator so that we could meet the needs of our scholars. So this process started in December, and here we are today. And again, someone may ask, well, why did it take so long? Well, there was a lot of things that went into putting this together. We had to factor in, again, our vision, our mission. We waited for New York State to finalize their budget, which isn't finalized yet, and we wanted to make sure that we crossed every T and dotted every I. So we thank you all for your patience. Can you go back? Because, go back. If you see that the budget tonight is being presented by myself and Mary O'Neill, but it's also being presented with Dr. Valente, who's part of our cabinet and part of our team. Let's give it up for Dr. Valente, please. So this budget has a theme, and the theme is a vision of excellence. And some may ask, well, what is a vision of excellence and what does that mean? You can Google it all you want. And there are going to be a variety of definitions for what is a vision of excellence. But that informed how we constructed this budget, because we realized that we have to stop normalizing failure, stop normalizing mediocrity, and step our game up to a new level of excellence. That is what a vision of excellence means to us. What it also means is that we meet the need of every child. That's what equity looks like. Some people think, well, equality, every school gets the same thing. No, that's not true. Because what Park Avenue School asks for may not be in need of Drexel, may not be in need of Powell's, may not be in need of Dryden. For instance, Dryden said they needed a music and art program, and you'll see that reflected later, but that's not a need of a school. But that's what equity looks like, giving each building what they need. A vision of excellence speaks about excellence in programming. The good Dr. Valente will be speaking to you all very shortly about those program initiatives, those program enhancements that we know are going to benefit our scholars. We're going to implement, starting next year, programs of rigor, programs that you only see in so-called affluent areas. Well, here's what we believe, the administrators, the Board of Education. We believe that our students can rise to any expectation. We're setting the bar high, and our expectations are high. Our goal is to move our district forward, and we believe that this budget can do that. Empowerment. Empowering not just our students to use their voice, but our educators. Dr. Valente has been meeting with educational teams, curriculum and instruction teams, and empowering them to help us with program selection, and he will speak candidly about that very shortly. Empowering our parents, we hired a DEI director who will help reach out to the community to educate and empower our parents so that they can have a strong voice and help us to move the needle forward. We need our families, we need our parents to help move us forward because we cannot bear this alone. So, as Mr. Troiano indicated, that this is the most ambitious budget in the history of Westbury. I know that I've been an educator for about 28 years now. I've never seen a budget like this. I've never seen a budget that allowed an administrative team to decide on what we believe is in the best interest of our students, thus our community, and be able to include those things in the budget. What I'm used to, and from what I'm hearing, what you're used to, is the answer no to everything. Nope, we can't do that. Nope, we can't do that. Nope, we can't afford that. Shahan, I see you shaking your head in the affirmative. We can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do that. Well, thanks to you all, and thanks for rallying and supporting. Thanks for launching a petition. Thanks for all that you've done with your letter writing. We can finally say yes to what we know is right for our scholars. So, what makes this budget so ambitious? What makes this budget so ambitious? I'm going to start with the middle one. You will see in this budget $3 million in robust instructional programs, which the good doctor will explain to you very shortly. Our students deserve the best, and they will get the best. You will see that this district has a vision, the board, the administrators have a vision to create teaching and learning spaces that are state-of-the-art for our students, and to ensure that our facilities are above standard so that we can have a safe, healthy place to grow, to learn, to teach. But what we also are going to see is that this board was very strategic and very meticulous about making sure that we no longer burden our taxpayers, as we did before the restoration of our foundation aid. That means you will see $2 million in tax relief. And we will explain what that means to you as a taxpayer very shortly. I did say $2 million in tax relief, right? So you can clap for that, because that's a big deal. And I'm going to tell you why it's a big deal. I sit at many superintendent meetings, statewide, regionally, quadrant-wise. I haven't seen this yet. And when I'm at meetings, we all exchange information. All right, so what are you giving back? What are you doing? What's this, what's that? And I am the only one that I have heard that has this type of ambition in their budget. So the restoration of foundation aid. We were able to restore close to $10 million. But this didn't just come because everyone loves Westbury. This was because the community came out well before I arrived. Students, advocates, parents, community leaders, concerned citizens, you all rallied. 33 high school students advocated for the restoration of $33 million. 1,000 letters were sent by community members to the New York State representatives. The board, as well as community members, launched a complaint against New York State with the Department of Justice, U.S. Department of Justice. And you rallied on the state's Supreme Court with 400 students and adults from around Long Island. As a result, not only are we able to bring robust programs, have a keen focus on our capital plan, but we're also able to refund to the taxpayers by decreasing the tax levy of $2 million. How many people heard that? Wait, can you go back? And maybe, you know what, I think I didn't read that right. We're able to return funds to the taxpayers by decreasing the levy by $2 million. My goodness. So, I just want to say really quickly, I just want to thank the Board of Education for pushing that envelope. And this is what took so long, because they were going back and forth. They know they made a promise to you all last year, and they wanted to stand firm in their commitment to you all, and they did just that. But what we wanted to do is make sure that in returning money to you, that we did not impact student programs, we did not impact staffing, and that we were able to maintain our programs and add more. And we wanted to make sure that we were able to have a keen focus on our capital improvements. So let's give it up for our Board of Education for being meticulous and for being so committed to their community.
Thank you, Dr. Chase. So now we'll talk about the school tax relief for a moment. So as Dr. Chase mentioned, you'll see a $2 million decrease in the tax levy, which is a 2.43% reduction in the overall levy, and that's actually slightly less than a 1920 tax levy. But what I think everybody really wants to know is the next slide. How does it impact them personally? So the average taxpayer, what we did is the tax rate calculation, assuming no other changes in the APB and the assessed values. But the average taxpayer in Westbury will actually see just under a $350 decrease in your school tax levy next year.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
It's $350, Dr. Chase.
That's a big deal. We didn't say increase, did we?
Decrease. It's a decrease. And now we're on to the instructional programs with Dr. Maloney.
Oh, wait. Well, that's great. Thank you very much, Mary. The next slide. Okay, I hope you can see that. If not, I'll try and explain it as well as I can. As Dr. Chase said, this is a very instructionally rich budget. She also said it reduces the tax rate. That is an anomaly that does not happen with great frequency in the state of New York or any other state in the Union. So to me, having been a retired superintendent and a superintendent for many years, this is something that you should be very proud of. It is very rare that a superintendent can present the duality of reduced taxes and improved programs. So let's take a look at what the improved programs are, because this truly is a gift to our children and something we should all be proud about. First of all, we honored many youngsters tonight. We honored students for their music and art talent. Isn't it wise to start art and music in our kindergarten school in Dryden? Doesn't that just make sense? So that's what we're going to do.
We looked at the World Language Program. It begins in 8th grade. Why 8th grade? Why not earlier? Why not 6th grade? That's where the middle school starts. So we'd like to begin to introduce French and Spanish at grade level 6, and perhaps in some future year, maybe even earlier, because we need to expose our youngsters to global languages. We are a global village, and this is a very powerful driving force to allow our youngsters to develop a multi-path area for Spanish and French, culminating not just in 8th grade, but moving on to Regents level advanced placement, and enriches all students by virtue of offering French and Spanish to all students earlier in their educational life. The next one is a big one. I don't know if you can read it. I'll read it to you. It says, pupil personnel staff to support returning students from external placements back to their Westbury School District home. Think about that. We have some children who are being transported every day beyond the borders of Westbury, who we may be able to serve here within our own schools. And we want to start bringing these children back. It's not only legally right, least restrictive environment is called federal law, it's morally right, it's ethically right. This is their home, and we want to educate them here. So Mr. Santiago and his PPS team have been working with us to bring back 7 or 8 students to the middle school who have been in external outside placements. And so we welcome them home, we welcome them to our programs, and we hope this is the first year of many years of bringing youngsters back, not only at the secondary, but the elementary level. The last entry there is we're projecting 7 full-time instructional positions that are going to be grant funded. It's really a question mark, but we could provide 7 to 10 positions under federal funds, APPR, and COVID-related funds that the federal government is giving us. So that would be additional support. Let's get to literacy and math real quickly. That is the foundation of what our children need to learn and need to excel in if they're going to master the content areas of science and social studies and art and music and well beyond that. We know in the early years, pre-K through 2nd grade, children learn to read. We also know that grade 3 and on, they read to learn. So unless they learn how to read, phonemic awareness, foundations, the basic skills of vocabulary, unless they build that basic learning to read early on, they're not going to succeed into the higher grades. And so we want to build the strongest of foundations, beginning with our pre-K students. Our 3-year literacy plan addresses that, and we'd be happy to discuss that more in depth at another time. The corollary of literacy is numeracy. Unless students are able to calculate, unless they're able to use mathematics in a powerful way right up through statistics and calculus, they are not going to succeed in this world. They're not going to succeed in this world of robotics. They're not going to be able to be achieving in a world that is filled with digital mathematics, an environment that is so rich for the future in terms of building a future on an electronic world. We need to give our students the very best in numeracy. So that 3-year plan likewise will support that effort as early as pre-kindergarten right up through 12th grade. We want to create programs beyond the school day. Our children lost a lot during COVID. It's been said repeatedly, the research proves it. It's true. What are we going to do about it? How are we going to build them back to a position where they're leveraged at grade level? Unless performing at grade level, they're losing ground every day. So you see up there a Signature Saturday Academy, you see a summer program, and you see an extended day program. And all three of them point in the same direction. Beyond the scope of the normal school day, what can we do to help our children improve their reading skills, their numeracy skills, their speaking, listening, and writing skills? And so we're going to expand, first of all, our summer school beginning July 1st from approximately 400 students at the elementary level. We want to grow it to 700 students. We want to set criteria for children getting into literacy and numeracy programs. We want to expand the program so that we're able to give all students who are not at proficiency levels, who are not performing at grade level, the opportunity to catch up and move ahead. So the Signature Saturday Academy complements that with a program built around STEAM, science, and also tutoring for children to advance their own strengths in those particular areas. And lastly, the extended day program runs beyond the scope of the normal school day with, again, remedial tutorial work, expanding students. The summer school we're planning will have enrichment as well, opportunities for students who are accelerated. So it will be a rich environment from July 1st to mid-August and allowing many more children to benefit. And we would urge you to have your own children participate in the program, to respond yes, and encourage others to take advantage of summer school this year. And finally, we'll conclude with the high school television production program, building a program that allows students, again, to learn 21st century skills. We're also looking at an electrical program to train our youngsters certified in electrical capacity. We're looking at related programs at the high school to give our students a broader range of career opportunities and skills. And finally, the bookends. The International Baccalaureate Program is a renowned international program where if you earn that diploma, it is recognized throughout the world. We started off by talking about the global obligation we have to train our youngsters for the future. The IB program will be explored next year with the intent of introducing it formally a year from now to all 11th and 12th graders. And they will be able to earn this high-level, high-powered diploma. Now you might say, well, we have advanced placement, which is an excellent program. Well, we're not debunking or in any way reducing that program. They complement each other. There are parts of the IB program that don't necessarily get to certain courses that advanced placement offers. Conversely, there are courses in IB, the theory of epistemology, certain areas of research that are very necessary for students. So students who want to take both the AP and the IB diet, so to speak, can grow robustly on that. And we are urging our high school community to work with us to make that a reality a year from now. The bookend is at the youngest end. We have a pre-kindergarten program. That's the good news. We have a half-day pre-K kindergarten program. That's the bad news. Our 4-year-olds need a full-day program. By the time they take their coats off in the morning and go to the bathroom and get a snack, it's time to put their coats on and get back on the bus. That doesn't work in this 21st century. Children need a full-day program. So we would like to move toward that, again, exploring it next year, implementing it the following year. Now, that's not an easy job to accomplish. New York State is very excited that we're interested in doing this, but we have to be sure we have the facilities, and we have to be sure we have the proper aesthetics and rooms for our youngsters to learn in. But those are two very energetic exploratory programs that we would like to see implemented in the following year. In athletics, as you can see, did you want to take this, Dr. Chase? Okay, very good. I think I exceeded my 90 seconds. But that's
Thank you. We needed to hear about our robust instructional programs, right? It's important that they, a lot of thought went into those programs, and you may ask, how are you going to do this all in 1 year? It is absolutely doable, and our children deserve this. Athletics. Well, we're going to increase funding for our athletic mentor. We want to make sure that all of our athletes have what they need to be successful. We want to make sure that our coaches also have the training and the mentorship necessary to lead us to championship titles, because we know our kids can do it. We're going to increase funding for uniforms. It is proposed at $15,000 more than what we already have, but we believe that that number is subject to change as well. We have a beautiful dance studio at our school district. Absolutely stunning. We want to restore that. We want to bring more programs into our school district where we can utilize that dance studio. We will be exploring introducing fencing and lacrosse to our students, or exploring that, looking at the younger grades, starting off the farm team and then growing it. So, the third leg in our robust budget is $12.8 million in facility improvements. And here's what that will look like to some degree. Facilities budget. There's something for every school in our school district. At Dryden, repairs to soffits. At Park, painting of the front entrance. Powell's asphalt, repairs, Drexel, new sidewalk and removal, replacement of asbestos floor tile. At our middle school, install additional card readers at the bathrooms. At the high school, replace damaged ceiling tiles and removal of asbestos as required. Increase funding for the upkeep of our grounds overall. Now, that's just a vignette of some of the things that we'll be doing at the schools. Looking at this doesn't mean that we're limited to. Health and safety is also very, very important. That's part of our facilities and health and safety leg. With health and safety, we look forward to hiring 2 new custodial positions. We know that we have an extension to our middle school. Therefore, we're going to need more manpower to keep our middle school safe and to keep our middle school clean. And we also believe that 1 custodial person will be hired at the high school. 3 new security positions, again, looking at our secondary schools. A dispatcher for transportation. Hey, you guys remember August through October of last year, did you not? With transportation, we recognized that there were some issues, and we recognized that we need more support, we need more help in that department. We are never to visit that space again in transportation. Never again. Therefore, we believe that having a dispatcher working with the John Popkin will be extremely helpful in the efficiency of that particular department. Increase BOCES services for training, working with Dr. Valente's team, and even working with Mary O'Neill's team, providing much needed training. When we build the capacity of the people who work in this organization, we increase the efficiencies of this organization. Enhanced safety procedures. You may remember some meetings ago, we actually hired Louis Salazar to conduct an assessment of our safety protocols in our school district. We received that report. We are analyzing that report, and we will be implementing many of the recommendations made by Mr. Salazar, and it will be reflected in our budget. We want to target security training. We know that our security need specialized training. In fact, Ms. O'Neill and her team will be taking a group of our security personnel to a national conference for training, and there'll be more training throughout the year. Security management system is needed in our school district. I understand we already have scholarship, but there could be an equivalent that may work better, and we're exploring that with our safety committee. We're going to maintain and enhance all current staff and programs. I am so accustomed to, during the budget process, hearing how we have to cut staff because we need to cut staff, and usually it's music and art that goes first. We're very fortunate in this district that we're not doing that. That we're going to maintain what we have and even add enhancements. Now, the other thing is that, I don't know if many of you know this, But a district of this size has a part-time treasurer, and I wouldn't even say part-time, I think this person comes in twice a week for half a day or something like that. We need to increase that for more efficiencies in the business department, and so we look forward to hiring a full-time treasurer to help move the process along in our business department. Okay, I'm going to pass the baton to Ms. O'Neill, who's going to talk to you all about the board's capital projects for consideration.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So as Dr. Chase mentioned, one of the focuses is safety in the district. The first topic on the left-hand side, we're speaking about security vestibules throughout the district. Is anyone familiar what a security vestibule is? Right now, when someone walks into the building, they can just walk right on into the building. What these security vestibules will do is they'll provide a stopping point. They'll walk in, they'll be stuck in an area, and they will not be able to be allowed into the building until they're properly screened by staff. We did list Dryden School, but we're doing Dryden by a grant, so there's no additional cost to the taxpayers for that. And we also have an issue with safety at the Drexel Playground. A review of that should indicate that that's one of our top playgrounds to get fixed. We have several critical replacements that we have. You'll notice a lot of roofing work that we need done. The high school needs a partial roof replacement. We have, over the pool, the high school pool, you notice we had a leak not too long ago, and that damaged the floor, which we had to replace. We are replacing a rooftop unit replacement. We have at Park, there's 5 rooftop units that need to be replaced because my understanding is they were oversized and it's creating mold issues. The administrative building and our facilities building both need roofs. I mean, we've actually had leaks in Dr. Chase's office and Dr. Valenti's office in the last 2 to 3 weeks. When we look at the replacement cost, Drexel is also looking for a roof replacement. Park is looking, I'm sorry, it should be Powell's. Powell's is looking for a boiler replacement, and along with the boiler replacement, we would do some asbestos abatement. And then we're also looking at the Park and Dryden portables. In the current year budget, I believe Park had $650,000 allocated towards the portables. Because of inflation, we're going to need roughly $160,000 more to replace the portables there, and then Dryden portables to replace all 7 of those is estimated to be about $3.4 million. And then there are some other items that the board has been discussing, and it was to revamp the middle school playfield and track. And if we're going to do that, we want to do some work on the inside of the building in order to maximize aid or to obtain aid. So we would do some asbestos abatement inside the middle school. We've also been talking about the high school kitchen cafeteria and turning that into a food court. And part of that project would be paid by the school lunch fund. And then we've been talking about district-wide security, and we have $1 million allocated for various projects, which would be cameras, panic bars, the card readers that Dr. Chase mentioned, being able to expand them further throughout the district. Door locks, I know one of the topics that have been at a variety of facilities meetings are blue lights and a security operations center. And those are all the discussions as well. And then we're looking at all of the equipment in cafeterias and replace that at $2.5 million. So how are we going to fund this? Next slide. Oh, our pictures came in second. So how are we paying for our capital improvements? Right now, the district has $21,316 in a repair reserve fund that has been there for a few years. We also are looking to access the 2019 capital reserve fund, and our school lunch fund has an excess fund balance of $2.5 million. So we're looking to have property proposition number 2 on the ballot for the voters to approve of $10.3 million. And again, that money will come from a repair reserve fund, the capital reserve fund, and excess school lunch fund balance. And that really is no cost to the taxpayers. That's money that we already have. We just need your permission to spend it. And then in the line item in the budget, as you mentioned before, we have 2.5 million to transfer to capital. So we should have 12.8 million to move forward with our capital improvements.
Do you want to defend the proposition? Just so we should know about it.
Sure. So the proposition, you'll see a separate vote on, you'll see your normal budget vote. Yes or no for the budget, and you're gonna have a separate proposition, which will allow the district to access funds that you currently have. So right now you have 21,000, just over 21,000 in a repair reserve fund, and the money is sitting there. You'll have just under 7.8 million in your capital reserve fund. And again, the money is there, so it's no additional cost to you. And then the school lunch fund is 2.5 million in excess fund balance that by law we have to spend down. But again, we need the voters' permission to spend that money down. So the second proposition will be right next to your regular budget proposition, and we'll be seeking voter approval to pass that, to move forward with the capital projects that we've mentioned. Next slide. So our financial plan. We spoke about the 2 million in tax relief, the 3 million in instructional programs, and our facilities improvements. So our financial plan overview, again, our budget goes up by 3.74%, or just over 6.3 million. You'll notice our school tax levy decreases by $2 million, which, as we said before, it's a $350 decrease for the average taxpayer. Our state and federal aid does increase by 10 million, and that's because of the increase in foundation aid that we spoke about earlier. You'll notice that all other revenue does decrease. The large decrease there is due to what happened this year. In your audit last year, you had excess money in your capital account that you did not spend. So what the auditors had us do was move the money from capital into your general fund, which was done in this budget, and it's a revenue stream, and then move it back to capital as an expense to support projects that you were doing, that you're beginning to do now. But again, overall, your budget increases 3.74%. Next slide. And we kind of went over the summary of the revenues already. Again, your tax levy overall decreases by 2 million. Your state and federal aid, I had combined on the other slide, increases by about 10. Your pilots are increasing. Your miscellaneous revenues have decreased slightly, and that's a lot of that is related to interest and tuitions that we've received. And that the interfund transfer, that 1.9, that's what I was speaking about earlier with the funding coming from capital to general and back to capital. But there's also the associated decrease on the revenue, on the expenditure side, that we don't have that there anymore. So again, overall, your budget is going up 3.7%. Next slide. If we look back at our tax levy and our state aid, so if we look at our current tax levy right now, that represents 46% of our budget in the current school year. If we go back and look at it, what it was in 1920, it was 51%. So you're seeing that the tax burden to the taxpayer is actually decreasing now that the foundation aid has been restored. And if you look at the state aid portion, in 1920, state aid accounted for 38% of your revenue to support your budget. Now it's up to 43%. So that's great news. Your foundation aid is kicking in. It's taking over more of your revenue stream, and we're seeing the tax levy go down. Summary of our expenses, again, overall, the budget is a budget increase of 3.74%. Okay. General support, the budget is broken up into several categories, which are state mandated. Our general support, which is anything, which is my office, Dr. Chase's office, it's operations and maintenance, it's insurance or liability insurance. Overall, that budget is increasing 5.3%. The instructional budget, which is all of the teachers, all of the programs that are in the building, is increasing 1.7%. And I know that we mentioned that we're adding staff, but we have to pay attention to the employee benefits line. That increases 14.4%, and that's where additional costs come from the added staff. Transportation is increasing by 4.8%, and that's due to an increase in the transportation contracts based on CPI and the addition of our dispatcher. And again, employee benefits go up based on the number of new staff that we have, as well as insurance that increases on a regular basis. Our debt service is increased because we have added on the debt for the energy performance contract this year. And then our interfund transfer to other funds have actually decreased by about a little over $2 million. Overall, again, it's a 3.74% budget to budget increase. Dr. Tish, want to go back?
Sure. Thank you, Ms. O'Neill, for explaining that to us. So, what are our next steps? First, I do want to just share with you, I know many of you are asking, well, where's the PowerPoint presentation? We're going to post this on our website. You'll find it on our website. Conspicuously posted tomorrow morning. We'll have that. Also, we'll find for transparency purposes, the line-by-line budget. It's on the website right now under the budget section of our website, and we'll continue to add information. But we need your help, because we need to know what questions you might have that you probably didn't think of tonight, or when you go home and think about what you've heard and view the PowerPoint presentation, perhaps there are questions. Who knows, maybe you're speaking to members of the community and may have sparked some questions. That being said, we have created a dedicated email address just for this budget. You will send your questions to budget 2022-2023, so it's budget 2223@westburyschools.org. Send those questions to us. It goes straight to Ms. O'Neill, straight to my email address. We will answer them instantly. But what we will also do, just so that we're fully transparent with the community, is that we'll post those questions in an FAQ section, so that you will see the questions that are asked of us and you will see the answer. And again, that helps you all hear what some of the community members might be concerned about, or they might need clarification. And we just want to be transparent in how we communicate with our community and make sure that all of those things are posted. Again, it's already live, so you can send something to us right now if you'd like, and you will get a response, and you will also see your questions as well as our answer on the website. But I will say this much: if you send something to this email address, maybe about your child in school, or my child didn't get his or her homework, you may not see that on the FAQ. So it has to be relevant to this budget and this budget presentation and any questions you have relating to it. Asking about your child's homework will probably be filtered back to your child's principal or will not be a part of the FAQ. But we do ask that you check our website for detailed budget information. We know that any one of us, and Roger Bloom isn't here, he's part of our cabinet. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have. On April 11th, we'll be meeting with our school board once again, and based on your questions and your answers, if anything needs to be revised, the school board will then make a decision about adopting a budget at that time. There will be a budget hearing on May 3rd. We invite all to come out to participate and join in on those robust discussions. And of course, on the 17th, you'll exercise your right to vote for our children. And that's May 17th, as Ms. O'Neill indicated. There will not only be the budget vote, but there will also be a proposition as well, okay? We thank you. We thank you for your attention. We thank you for your patience. We thank you for being here and listening to our budget presentation. We went over a little bit more than we'd like to, but we wanted to make sure that we were as explicit as we could possibly be. And at this point, if there are any questions, we're happy to entertain them. We thank you all for your attention.
Good evening. Chester McGibbon, 502 Alicia Drive. First of all, let me just ask, did my letter to the editor of the Westbury Times suggesting that the public is being left in the dark with regard to budget presentation have anything to do with this presentation tonight? And I'm asking this because
Ms. Elaine Lavelle asked a question at last board meeting about the same question, about budget presentation, and no one seemed to know what she was talking about. It wasn't until the lawyer pointed out that there was in the agenda, a hearing scheduled for May 3rd, and that wasn't even what Ms. Lavelle asked about. Even though the board had already adopted or voted on a budget calendar from way back in October of last year. And again, in January, when they voted on a budget proposals in October of last year, and in January of this year, the budget calendar. So that was sort of a miss to me. But the larger question is, why is it that something as important as this was sent out to the wider community via email or text 8 o'clock last night to some community members that the venue will be here at the Yes We Can building that is not really, a lot of people don't even know where to find it. Hard to find parking and all of that. We have an auditorium, and I hear that it's being used for whatever. But it was sent out at 8 o'clock last night to some community members. Selected. I don't think everybody got that. And again, why was it this something as important as this? $175 million to operate the school district. That it wasn't a standalone event. This room was full earlier on. Those parents that were here with their children, they are not interested to hear what's going on. $175 million. But you had this presentation, which is good, and then you say you can go home. They don't matter? No, seriously. Why wasn't this a standalone event? You have this and you're sitting here all the time. $175 million. Those of you parents that are watching this live stream, this is what happens. When you do not come and don't stay woke, these things happen. Because they look at the 6 or 7 of us that are regular members at board meetings, and they say, don't worry, the rest of the public don't care. $175 million. No, sir. I'm speaking, Mr. President. No. I have a point to make. Madam Superintendent, I'm sure that...
I'm just going to remind you of 2 things. One is board policy asks for you to talk directly to the board.
It's to the board.
Please, there is...
okay, Mr. President, I'm sorry, sir.
Is there a question to go with this, or is it just a comment?
Okay, Mr. President, it's a comment. Let me just further comment. Madam Superintendent, I'm sure that you were impressed with that welcome community that welcomed you robustly when you were here last year. But I'm sure it's not, president of this and president of that. But I'm sure that after, it isn't lost on you that there are those folks when you look around at subsequent board meetings, and there's 10 of us that's there. But I'm saying to the public in general, we have to stay woke because it's $175 million and it's not chump change. I have other things to say, but I'm getting too worked up right now. But let me just ask this one question, further question. Did we have these various presentations to the public in terms of February 10th that the board presented the budget and planning session. March 10th, the Board of Education planning session. Budget was presented in elementary schools. March 17th, the Board of Education presented to the secondary school. Where all these events took place? Were they taking place, or was it just on paper? And these are my concerns. I'm not here to, pour old water and what was just presented. But we are a community. I'm talking about $175 million. That's all I'm saying. Why we have it here, and yes, we have the college. Those people that were here a while ago, they don't matter. They have children in the school district. And you have us sitting here and present this thing and talk about this and talk about that. It's $175 million. And it should have been a stand-alone event, not coupled with the other events. $175 million. And I'm done. Thank you.
Does anybody have a question about the budget itself?
Isabella Hamilton Lomax, 565 Jefferson Street. I know you asked if I had a question about the budget itself, but I did have a question about the flyer, the circular that has gone home before outlining the details of the budget that goes to the community, and if that was going out this year, when it was going out, and will it be sent out prior to the hearing on May 3rd, so the community would have an opportunity to review it and then possibly have questions and present them at that meeting.
So the newsletter you're referring to, of course, we actually finalized the newsletter. Our PR firm, ZEC Communication, will be sending it to the printer, but please keep in mind that every school district is sending it to the same printer, and ZEC was very, very kind to identify another printer so that we can get it out to the community as soon as possible. So we are not diverting from our legal obligation to send that mailing home to our families. It is with hope that you will have it by that time, by the budget hearing. That is the hope. But the plan is to send it out as soon as possible. And if I'm not mistaken, I think a draft was sent to us just for editing purposes and just to finalize it. And so I just wanted to, and I'm glad you mentioned it, because I want to thank my team for working very closely, and Mr. Triano also with Zach, to turn the budget newsletter around in, I would consider to be record time. So the answer to your question is yes.
So it is going out. Is there contingency, maybe posting online or somewhere that the parents can access it in case it's not ready by now?
Sure, absolutely. So the plan is that we will send place an electronic copy of the budget newsletter, not only on our website, but for all of our social media, in the event that snail mail catches us like it has with everything else. And so that's the contingency for that. In addition, this PowerPoint presentation that we made, as I shared with the community earlier, will be on our website in the morning as well, so you can review it.
And then I did have a question on one of the line items. It was the staffing. So I know that we're adding staff. We're adding the music teacher and the music program at Dryden, so I'm really excited to hear about that. So that's great. But it was just over 14% increase in, I believe, staff, the budget. So I didn't know if that was allocated for the new hires, or is that like what is contributing to that 14.67%?
Sure, I'm just gonna ask Ms. O'Neill just to clarify that point, which she's looking through it now. She can just clarify that.
Yeah, and I don't have that PowerPoint, but it was
It's
one.
I think you're
It's a
referring to
hold on,
employee benefits.
Okay, got it.
Yes. If you can look at the summary of expenses, Mary?
Okay, that's for employee benefits, that's for existing employees as well as new employees.
Okay, so that's healthcare, things like that,
It is
general.
the retirement costs, ERS, TRS, your social security
the, I guess, the projects under consideration. So those projects are dependent upon the referendum or the presentation. If that passes, will they all be done? Or is there a process in terms of selecting which projects will be done?
So the project, for us to do the projects, the proposition would have to be approved by the voters, because we cannot spend the money without voter approval.
Hold on, can you guys hear her in the back?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is there a microphone?
No.
Because we want to make sure the community, the 47 people are watching can hear as well.
Okay, so Proposition 2 would have to be approved by the voters in order for us to spend the money on any of the items listed in the capital projects for consideration. You know, we have the capital projects for consideration, and a lot of that we want to offer as much to the community as possible, knowing full well we might not be able to do all of it, because when the prices come in, you know, we have to be mindful of that. So if the voters approve Proposition 2, and we have the 2.5 as well, the most we can spend is the 12.8. And those projects do exceed 12.8.
That was going to be my next question.
Yes.
So just to add to that, so there's currently $12.8 million that we have available to us to spend. $2.5 million of that requires approval. There's hello? Okay. So we've identified projects that exceed $12.8 million. So you asked, are all these projects going to get done? Not all of them are going to get done. Most of them, though, can get done, assuming that we have the public support. We need the public support for the budget to be approved. That adds $2.5 million to funding that we have for capital projects. Then we need Proposition 2 to be approved, which provides the additional $10.3 million. Now, just so everybody's clear, we're not asking the public to, for money for that. We've got the money, but the state requires that the public approve the expenditure of that money. So that's a longer answer.
And I understand that point. I guess to Mr. McGivens' point, or, you know, if we have more time, you know, us PTA parents and everyone else who, you know, speak to it, to have to discuss the pros of passing that referendum, more time and making sure, and I know that there's every effort in transparency. I would just state from our experience last time in getting the aid passed so that we could do the expansions, having that time to talk to the parents and let them know why they need to pass these things is important.
So let me just remind you that the vote is until May 17th. So we've got over 5 weeks to communicate. Do you think that's a lot of time? 5 weeks is sufficient time to communicate to the public, and there's absolutely no doubt about that. We have had budget meetings before, staff budget meetings before, and no one has attended. Nobody. 0 people attended, including Mr. McGinnis. We have also, what is that? Oh. So, we're going to do our normal thing as we always do. But it doesn't take place until we have a budget. Now, this year, we had wanted to wait until the state approved their budget, because we really didn't want to go to the public and say that we've got $2 million to give you in tax relief. The state was supposed to, by law, approve their budget this past Friday. They didn't do that. We couldn't wait any longer than that. And so that's why we've come to you tonight. And I guess we could have done a separate meeting, but we're meeting anyway April 5th, so we just have the budget hearing, not budget hearing, a budget presentation. Keep in mind that all of this, everything presented thus far, assumes that the state gives us the foundation aid that they've indicated they will, but they have yet to reach a budget agreement.
I'd like to add, you indicated that there may not be enough time.
let me just share with you that if you feel that there isn't enough time to communicate to PTAs, let me just offer, my cabinet is available to meet with your PTAs. Just let us know when, give us advance notice, we all have families, but if you let us know, we will help to present to the PTAs. So we are available, so take that off, scratch that off the list. Well, then, and then you have to let us know.
So should I send an email to this?
Please do, and to Randy and to let us know. We're here to communicate to our community.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, appreciate it.
Let me touch it first.
Pablo Sinclair, 9 Pine Tree Road, Westbury. So, I mean, Chester said a lot. When Dr. Chase became the place was packed, right? I don't get to come to a lot of board meetings, I'll be honest with you. I do have a child in the district, so shame on me for not coming to the meetings, but let's not use that as an indication of lack of attention, and we're not aware of what's going on, and we're not concerned. Back in the day, when we did a budget, it was a lot more presentation, there's a lot more notice to the community. Like Chester said, we had, whether people showed up or not, there was umpteen meetings at the various schools to get support, and that's why we were able to pass budgets. We have failed budgets before in this community. So, I mean, I say to say that, you know, with the COVID, we all lost like a year or so, like the blip, right? But people still engaged. So 3.7 increase is a lot to people. Any kind of increase just raise people's air, especially in this environment where the economy is what it is. As far as the cost of living, I mean, it's great you're gonna give money back, but I'll be honest with you. I wanna support the school, I wanna support you guys, but the way you're rushing, it seems like you're rushing this through, as far as the budget. My community, Westbury, is very active. I think I have some of my folks here, I told them to come, there's a budget meeting, let's get here, and let's get, so we wanna be able to, but I think, like Chester said, and the young lady said it, we need more time. You do what you do, but you're setting yourself up for failure as far as the budget getting passed or not getting passed, as it relates to, from my experience. And I've helped pass all the QSAP bonds, all the stuff, I'm pushing hard. But we had meetings and people, the presentation was great, but it just, like I said, it should be a standalone meeting, just a budget meeting alone, to show people what's in there, the ones that do vote. But look, I want to support you guys, but like I said, it just seemed rushed. We need to have more outreach to the community in order to get it passed, because it is an increase. Even though you're giving money back, people are still gonna see 3.7 from budget to budget, no?
No,
I'm not an expert, but.
I'm just not, I mean, because, so inflation's running at 6%. The expense side of this budget increases by less than 4%. We're reducing taxes by 2%. We're increasing the instructional program by $3 million. We're making capital improvements to this community's assets that total nearly $13 million. It took time to work all of that out. I want to thank Dr. Trace and Mary O'Neill for that. So I'm a little bit, I'm not really certain I understand why 5 to 6 weeks isn't enough time for this community to understand what's in the budget, ask questions about it, and make a decision whether to vote for it or against it.
Look, I know schools.
And you're keeping in mind that the state has failed in its obligation to confirm a number for us. So we're shooting here, doing the best we can without hard information. So difficult, this is even, you might say, too early, because we don't know that we're gonna get $9.7 million in additional compensation. And maybe we should have put a greater emphasis on that in this presentation, to say that this is all subject to some risk. And maybe what this community needs to do is to write the governor and say, let's come to the table, let's finish this up. And because we need to have our community be able to vote on this. And we're in a position now of having to finalize adopt a budget on next Monday that has a $2 million reduction in the amount of money we take out of your pocket. And we have the risk that the governor doesn't reach an agreement with the legislature by next Monday, that they don't deliver $9.7 million to us, and that we still will have to deliver $2 million back into your pocket. Had we made a presentation about this 2 weeks ago, or 2 months ago, as being suggested, we could not, in good faith, have presented to you a $2 million reduction in taxes. We would have instead been talking perhaps about a 7% increase in expenses. So part of the delay here is the lack of certainty coming out of Albany. So I would just ask you to bear with us and write your governor, write your legislators, and tell them that your school budget is dependent on them delivering on the $9.7 million they said. This is all based on that, and we don't even know that it's true. Thank you.
Elaine Lavelle, 18 Oakdale Drive, Westbury Hills. I'm sitting here tonight and I'm listening to the various presentations. I do agree with the other residents of Westbury that stood right here and spoke about, in terms of us, the community, being actually given something that we could say, well, then we do have a budget. Whether it's a final budget, we have seen many budgets that were revised. Now, as far as I know, I've been in Westbury for almost 40 years, and I can tell you that we are used to having a budget calendar. And I know you did have one. I am not saying that we should have had something. Coming here tonight and saying this is no excuse. We should have been given something, at least to say we are working on it, it's not final, but to come here tonight, to sit here and listen to this. I understand the governor this and the governor that, but why as residents weren't we given something to say, look, something is in the works. You did have board meetings where you had planning sessions and you did go over the library. And Mr. Triano, I must tell you, I take offense to the fact that you said that you have had budget presentations maybe and nobody came. It does not mean or excuse the fact that you as board members should not have had a presentation. You did. But to say that we don't, in other words, we don't come, so what? People are watching, and I am watching. Okay, so I'm glad that at least you took the time to show us this presentation tonight prior to the hearing or whatever you had here for the 11th, before the adoption, and then the vote on May 3rd and May 15th or 19th. But I thank you for that. Also, something that was mentioned, I may be incorrect, with Dr. Valente talking about French and Spanish in the middle school. My kids have long gone from Westbury, but I can tell you one thing, I know we had French and Spanish in the middle school. I don't know if it was 6th grade or 7th grade, but we did have it. So that wouldn't be anything new. We've had that in the past. Okay. Music in Dryden, we've had that before. Not sure of art, but we have had it. So that again will be nothing new. But of course, if we're going to bring that back, I am happy to hear that Dr. Chase, you are looking into it. That's a big plus. Okay. Now, athletics, Dr. Chase, I thank you. I see here you're exploring the fencing and the lacrosse. And I do hope that it does happen. Because I know this is something that our kids, we really, really should be a part of that. And I thank you for that. And the board, of course. Okay. spelling bee. I know. I'm not beating a horse, okay? But I will tonight because I'm telling you, I want it back tomorrow. I know it's coming. Also, the International Bachelorette. Those are the two things I told you about, and I see it in the presentation, okay? So, I thank you. One other thing, this is last but not least. The pre-K program. I do know that it's partially funded by a grant, and that's probably why it's half day. Now, I'm asking because I don't know, how do we plan to accomplish this for the other half a day? Can somebody answer that?
Well, that's why we identify it as an exploration.
Okay.
So we're going to put our team, that's why we identify it as exploration, Ms. Lavelle. Because we're going to actually put our team together to explore space, making sure that we have appropriate space, that we have the right resources. And so we'll have a committee and a team of individuals who will help us to explore the feasibility of it and the best way to do it.
Okay. After this, I'm going to have a seat until the next part. I brought this card again, and I mentioned the $2 million. Now, this is a card that Anna Kaplan sent around for the $63 million that we were supposed to be getting back. Now, my question is, thank you, is this $2 million from this here? No, this is a card. I read it before. $66 million for the Westbury School District. A 19% increase over last year, allowing the district to cut property taxes for Westbury residents for this time, for the first time in decades. Is the $2 million part of this? Mr. Tran, maybe you want to answer? Because you're in the picture here.
Yeah, that's not, no, that is not my email. That is not my mailing. That is Senator Kaplan's mailing. I don't recall the number you just mentioned, but I do know that as a result of this community's efforts to increase foundation aid, as Dr. Chase ran through during the presentation that you were part of, thank you for that, that resulted in New York State honoring its commitment made in 2008, 2009 to fully fund foundation aid, which is based on the New York State Constitution, saying that every child deserves an equal education. So, the $2.5 million reduction in what taxes would have been a year ago, and the $2 million further reduction that's proposed tonight, assuming the state reaches a budget agreement as we think it's going to, is funded out of the increase in foundation aid that Senator Kaplan played a part in having get done in all.
Yeah, okay, also the proposition regarding voting day, that's a huge point. Because most people, when they go to vote, they don't even, all they go to vote for is maybe vote no, yes for the budget and candidates. They don't look at that. And if we as a community know the importance of those propositions, we really should be in a position to say, hey, this is important to us. We need to get this through. So we need to really get involved as a community. I'm not working against the board. I want to work with you guys. But at the same time, you guys have to be, I wouldn't say transparent, but keep us in the loop. Because right now, if we didn't come tonight, I wouldn't have known about this. Yeah. Meaning, I don't go to the computer that much to see what's on there, but I like the fact that we could come here, interact together, and talk, okay? Not fight, we might disagree, but I think we all looking and expect to have same positive goals. So with that, I end.
Well, thank you. I just want to remind you and everybody else that we are going to be sending our newsletter, as we do every year, to 6,000 households. That'll be followed up by the property tax card being sent to 6,000 households, and other reminders as well. So it'll be reported in the newsletter, it'll be reported in the Westbury Times. There will be many opportunities for the public to hear about what I think is the boldest, most ambitious budget in Westbury's history. Elaine, you have been through budget votes for the last 30 years.
I have
That-
budgets in my garage.
I know you do.
Yeah, I was
I
like,
know.
from
And you know that
union.
the 30 years that I've known you, 31 years that I've known you, you have been an active supporter of the school district budget. And we would hope that that will continue. And the Westbury Hill Civic, represented by Pablo tonight, has one of the highest voter turnout ratios
We have
in all of
several of our
Westbury.
members
Right.
here from Westbury Hills.
I know.
Your kids tonight.
It's a
because
very,
they
it's a
wanna
very
know what's
involved
going on.
community, and and we will use every mechanism that we've always used. And I'm committing Dr. Chase to this, and I'm
My
sure she's
neighbor
on
across the street,
board
sitting
for it.
right here.
And she'll make presentations to civic association meetings. We've had it, and you've been part of that as well, breakfast with realtors, we've had breakfast with pastors, just to make sure that the word gets out, people fully understand that everything that we've talked about tonight is dependent on the budget passing and on Proposition 2 passing.
Okay. All right.
Are there any other questions about the budget or about the presentation?
Isabella Hamilton, Lomax, 565 Jefferson Street. What does the budget look like if we don't get the foundation aid?
So I don't know, is there a contingency budget yet?
We don't have a contingency budget yet, but now the budget is based on.
The budget is based on what the governor has said. So now we're waiting for the legislature to finalize. In the event that you did not receive the $9 million additional aid, we'd be going back and redoing the budget. You would lose a lot of the programs that we were just talking
It, my own political analysis is that we will get some increase in foundation aid, although it may not be the full $9.9 million. So I expect it's going to be $9.9 million, but this is an election. So I don't really expect the governor to cut back very much on what's been proposed. Nor I expect the legislature to, because they're up for election as well. But there could be some bringing back of the $9.9 million. So it's very difficult for us to say with any degree of certainty that we'll be able to do this plan as proposed. We've got an addition of 15 teachers in this budget. If we get less than $9.9 million, I can't say that we'll be able to hire 15 teachers. Will we be able to do a $2 million reduction in taxes? I can't say we'll be able to do that. Will we be able to do $12.8 million of capital improvements? I can't say we'll be able to do that. But hopefully we have a better sense of that prior to Monday. Because after Monday, if we adopt this budget and the monies are not what we've anticipated, then we have to severely make some severe changes.
We'll know that when.
Well, I'm not sure. Well, Dr. Chase is saying that he's hearing that the deadline is for agreement is Thursday, but by law it was this past Friday. So agreements can be made and agreements can be made. Are there any other questions? Okay.
Are there any questions in the chat, Mr. Alert?
No.
Okay, are there any questions?
So for the superintendent's report, and I just thank you all for hanging in there. I know it's a long night, but I just thank you for hanging in there. We see you, we appreciate you for being here and for asking the questions. Once again, I'm going to reiterate, do not hesitate. Ms. Lavelle, please make sure that your civic association knows everyone who's listening, even those who are listening on the chat. budget 2223@westburyschools.org. We're happy to answer your questions, and again, that's going to help with our FAQ list. I do want to share with you that Thought Exchange is going out to the community, and that's going to help us to build our website. I'm very happy that Laser has joined our tech team, and he is tasked with helping us to communicate with you all better, and communicating with you all better through our website and through our social media. And so we know that our website desperately needs some enhancements. It's definitely not a reflection of the direction we are going as a district. So you're going to get a survey. I shared that with you last time. I ask that you not just put it to the side, but I ask that you do submit to the survey. It takes you no more than 2.5 minutes. It allows you to see other responses, and it allows you to rate. With those responses, Mr. O'Rourke is going to, with his team, use those responses to help build a website that is relevant to our needs here at the school district. I want to congratulate Park Avenue School. The principal just left, but I want to congratulate Park Avenue School. Here's what you all may not know. On Saturday, there was a professional lacrosse, Ms. Lavelle, game held at Nassau Coliseum. The New York Riptides versus the Philadelphia Wings. Our students at Park Avenue School had the chance to sing God Bless America at the game. Let's give it up for Park Avenue School. See, it's opportunities like this in maintaining our programs, and you talked about what happens if the budget doesn't pass. Well, it's opportunities like this, like maintaining our strong music and art programs, which give our students, our scholars, an opportunity to be on a national showcase. I think it's amazing. Please take a look at social media. They're on Twitter. Liz is going to post them onto Facebook very shortly so that you can actually hear our students and hear the reaction of other people listening to our students. I want to congratulate our Honor Society inductees. What you may not know is on Thursday, Drexel Avenue School will have their Honor Society inductees as well. So that induction ceremony will take place on Thursday. I just want to remind the community that our schools will be closed for spring recess starting Friday, April 15th. And school will be closed through April 22nd. We will resume school on April 25th. Although Mr. Traiano indicated this a little bit earlier, there may be some who may have joined after he announced this, but Westbury High School presents Do You Want to Dance? Jukebox Musical, Friday the 8th and Saturday the 9th at 7 p.m. We ask that you come out and support our scholars. Please come out, support our scholars. Students and senior citizens, $5 if you care to admit. And those of us who are considered in the adult category, $10, and just know that those proceeds will go toward supporting our performing arts program. So we do ask that you please consider coming out. This will be posted on our social media as well. I'm going to pass the baton over to, over to Roger Bloom, who will share a few COVID-19 updates with you.
Good evening. All right. Get a little enthusiasm. Good evening. All right. I'm here to provide some updates to our COVID protocols, also talk about monitoring what's going on in the state, the nation, and the world. So, as we shared in the past, we are now a mask optional school district. We are excited that we just opened up the playgrounds in the elementary school as we push towards what they call the new normal. We have our Vaxmobile from Mount Sinai, South Nassau, visiting again tomorrow to help to dispense vaccines to children ages 5 or older. So we're excited that we're able to continue that endeavor. We're closely monitoring some of the variants that are out there right now through our April vacation. If everything looks good after our April vacation, we're going to start looking at making some more modifications and revisions to our protocols. But of course, we're always mindful that if we should see a spike, we have the ability to pull back and to change things around. So we're continually monitoring. The health, safety, and welfare of all is paramount, and we'll continue to provide these updates. Thank you.
And my last comment is please continue to follow us on social media. Please follow us on Facebook. We're increasing our footprint on all social media platforms. It's important that you follow us and see what's happening in our schools. We write our own narrative here at Westbury. No one should write it for us. We are a progressive school district, and we are a school district that's moving ambitiously toward world-class status. And together we can do that. But take a look at what we're doing. Don't forget to fill out the survey. And again, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram as well. Community, I thank you for your attention tonight, and thank you for indulging us. And have a good night, everyone. And please continue to stay safe.
We're not done.
I'm done. I'm sorry, I'm not done. Dr. Valente, do you have anything to add for curriculum instruction?
No, I think it's all been said.
It's all been said. Thank you so much. Mr. President, that concludes the superintendent's report tonight.
Thank you. I thought you were bidding us adieu for the entire night. Sorry. Does anybody have any questions about tonight's voting agenda?
Elaine Lavelle, 18 Oakdale Drive again. I have a question regarding, I think it's item 6, personnel.
Mr. Elvis, do you have a page number to be at the bottom of the page?
What is it? 1436. It's Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations. Okay. This is April. I see here that the salary starting April 6th, $230,635.00. I also have the November 19th, 2021 agenda, when the same person was interim. Her salary was $225,000. My question tonight is, there is a jump of $5,635. It went from $225 to $230,635. I have a question, and could somebody answer that for me?
I don't want to cross the line. I don't see our attorney here, but I don't want to cross the line in personnel. You can't answer. So let me answer in general, because I don't want to cross any line. Our administrators are up for raises at the end of the school year, and what you see reflected in any position for an administrator, I'm not going to speak about any particular administrator, reflect a salary that will last for 1 year. So that's a salary that will last 1 year into 2023, end of 2023, that will level the playing field among the assistant superintendents. I'm trying to not go into detail about personnel matters because it is not legal to speak about that. However, it is a salary that reflects a 2% raise from what that person would have received had that person started in September.
So, am I to understand that within, let me see, November 2021 and April, this $5,635, what does that represent? A raise for that individual?
What it represents is the salary that would be given to that person with an additional 2% raise for the following year. So that is to last through the following year. Unfortunately, Ms. Lavelle, I just can't go into I want to with you, just to help you to understand that, but let me just say, there's no funny business. It's just giving the salary that's appropriate to the position. It's, if you look at the salaries of assistant superintendents throughout the state of New York, it falls in the median level. And, you know, I wish I could go further into the position, but it's not appropriate.
I'm like at a loss right here. I'm not
I know, and I wish you would have called me, but it's just not appropriate.
However, why wasn't it put there when she was, intro? That should have been there.
The
Let's
person,
do third,
the
yes.
person was interim, and the person is being recommended for a full-time position. I can't go any further than that.
Okay. All right. What am I gonna say? You try your best, and like you said, you did not want to cross the line because there's no, you don't have an attorney here, a board attorney. Okay.
Hello, Chiquita Combs, 262 Grand Boulevard. Page 13, Saturday Academy Extended Day Tutorials. And the individuals are identified as new hires, but also it seems as though their home school districts are also listed. Is Westbury paying teachers now that don't work in Westbury? Are we paying outside school district teachers for the Saturday Academy Extended Day Tutorial? I would think we have plenty of teachers here in the district. I'm concerned about this.
Thank you for your question. Dr. Valente, you want to go for that one?
I'd be delighted.
Excellent.
We do have many teachers in the district, many professional, competent teachers. But in posting the positions for Saturday, we did not have a sufficient number to serve the large number of students from Westbury who wanted to take advantage of this STEM curriculum. So in lieu of having our own teachers, the 4 professors from Malloy College who are partnering with us offered to provide teachers who they were able to bring in, and they've done this for other school districts who they partner with in terms of STEM. So the choice became telling half the students, sorry, we cannot provide a program for you on Saturday, or bringing in teachers who are excited about working on Saturday. Many of them are graduates of Malloy, have their own partnership with the professors, and so we believe that is the better choice to serve students and to provide them the program.
Will they be fingerprinted like our?
Oh,
teachers
I'm
are?
sure Dr. Bloom will
Service?
go into greater detail, but absolutely.
They were all checked for fingerprint certification.
Already?
Yes. They've gone through the entire application process, and it was done with great efficiency and effectiveness over the past several days.
So these individuals who are clearly employed by other school districts
Correct.
Monday through Friday will
Correct.
become new hires of Westbury
On Saturday,
on Saturdays.
for a temporary period of time.
Temporary?
Well, it has to be temporary because the summer academy has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It will end by mid-June.
We should indicate that, temporary, the time frame. It should be indicated. There's a few things that should be indicated in the time
I
frame.
know, but you know what it does say? It says 2021, 2022.
So that's the rest of the, from, mean that we could kind of get billed back to
No.
September?
No, well,
Okay.
what it means, is, no, there's no build back.
Okay.
But what it means is that for this particular school year, for the Saturday Academy, anything pertaining to the 2021-2022 budget ends in June. So these teachers are hired through the end of our Saturday Academy, which is 1 day a week on Saturday, through June.
What time? On Saturday?
What time? It's from 9
The
to 11.
hours.
From 9 to 11.
9 to 11, 2 hours?
Yes. Oh, noon, I apologize.
9 to noon, and there'll be snacks for the children. And we also have hired some teaching assistants to support the program. We'll be using Powell School. We'll be using approximately 21 classrooms. And as I mentioned earlier, there are over 200 students engaged in the program. Not only kindergartners, but also all of our elementary schools from grades 1 through 5.
And which buildings? High school?
Powell's Lane.
Oh, Powers only.
Only, all, yes, they're all concentrated in that one school. Correct.
Just for clarity, students come from other buildings, but
Right.
they're just using Howard's Lane as the location for the program.
Okay.
And I do want to indicate this, I want to be very, very clear. This was offered to our WTA members. We didn't have enough people to petition for the position. There was no way this district was going to leave over 200 students hanging out there with not having a teacher. So we had no other choice but to go outside.
And this is gonna include high school students?
Well,
Coming from the high school?
yes, I'll get to
hours?
that in a second, Chiquita. If I may, I want to back up what Dr. Chase is saying. Some teachers who work in Westbury did apply, and all of them were hired. We found that we needed additional teachers, and that's why we went out of district. I think we explained that. Did you understand that
Yes, I
part?
understood it. It's just that this is the first time I think I've ever heard of this.
Well, take summer school. We've brought in teachers from outside the
It is
district.
true.
Is
Yes,
that true?
It's true.
So
That's
it's not
correct.
the first time.
It's correct.
Now, I want to talk about
Well,
the
Saturday Academies, yes. This is the first time I've ever seen out of district on Saturday Academies, and I'm particularly concerned because there's a lot of activity that will be going on in Powers Lane. I don't see any clerical staff on being approved. It's a lot of things going on here. You would think you would need a secretary or two.
Well, I wanted to answer your other question about high school students.
Sure.
It was a great idea on the part of Patty Muller, our district chair for science, to offer approximately 10 or 11 high school students who will be working with the teachers in this program as part of their community service credit. So I'm glad you brought that up, and that is something new that we're adding to the Saturday Academy. High school students will be working with teachers to help our students, because a lot of it is small group science work. Science now is building, and science is developing something. It's not just sitting down and cognitively absorbing information. So those students will perform a great service, and they will earn credit for it.
Will there be teacher aides employed?
We have 5 teaching assistants, is that correct, Dr. Bloom?
All right, thank you.
Yes, all who applied were brought in from Westbury. No one from Westbury was rejected for the program. We just needed more to serve all the students who wanted to participate.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good evening, Vicky Sylvain, 12 Second Street. I just have a question in regards to the equipment of disposal. What happens to those supplies, those items?
You're asking about equipment being surplus?
Disposed. It says there's 3 pages of disposed items.
Okay, it can be one of, or a couple of ways it can be disposed of. What I'm used to doing is we try to sell it first, If you can't sell it to another organization, you can donate it to other organizations. And the last that you would do would be to throw it out.
So what's the plan of action? The first is trying to sell it?
Well, the first would be to try to sell it.
Okay, thank you. Well, how will they know about the items being sold? Sorry. Like, as far as, are you contacting organizations, or what is the process, or how do organizations contact the school to find out if they're eligible to participate in the sale or for donation?
Well, there's organizations out there that you can post online, and then it would be posted kind of like, trying to think of what it would be considered, like not Craigslist, where you post like a market, like Facebook Marketplace. It's not Facebook Marketplace, but there's organizations out there that do that. At the same time, if you're aware of any organization that is interested in any of those items, please feel free to let me know.
When will you go to the donation side? Because of organizations that when they get to that level.
Again, if you have an organization that is in need, just let me know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mary, is it true that there tends not to be a big market for the items that are being disposed of?
There tend not to be.
So there is, and I think under law, even if we wanted to, we couldn't just donate those goods if there is a market value to them.
Well, if there's a market value, we can also look at what is on our books. So if we purchase an iPad now, 5 years from now, it's not going to be worth anything. So we could look at our records to see what the items are valued at per the district. We could attempt to sell. The board could make a resolution to donate items to a specific organization.
So we can make, so I just want to make sure I understand this. Even if there is a dollar market value for items we're going to be disposing, the board has the ability to donate those to community organizations?
Well, I guess you'd have to look at what the dollar value is and whether it's relevant or not. But again, most of the time, if we try to sell it on a marketplace,
I understand.
They don't sell.
But there's certainly this community need for those assets. It may not be of much value to us, but it may be of value to them. So the question really is, can you donate it even though if we have an older iPad may have a market value of $10, would we be able to forego that and donate it to a needy community group?
I believe you can, but what I'll do is I'll follow up with the legal team tomorrow. I know it, okay.
Um, 565 Jefferson Street, Westbury, Isabel, Hamilton, Lomax. Under curriculum, page 12, subject 5. I'm sorry, 5H, I think it is, with the withdrawn universal pre-K contract. So is that being delayed, or are we not voting on that tonight, or is that subject to the review that's happening for full-time pre-K?
We have to comment on why it's withdrawn, and only temporarily. We have been in touch with St. Joseph's College and their people, and they were very excited about extending the contract. They remain excited for next school year. Their legal department, it was referred to their legal department, and they asked for some additional time to review the numbers. And rather than pass the resolution tonight and have a subsequent meeting when we're revising the numbers, we said, fine, then we'll wait until you're ready. Their program will not begin until effectively September, with a July 1st contract date. So we have the next month, if you will, of May or even June to approve this contract. But their attorney's got to get that straight before we review it at our end. Good.
Does anyone else have a question? Are there any questions in the chat room? No questions?
Are there comments in the chat? Were there
No, just thank yous.
Say
Thank yous.
thank yous and congratulations.
Yeah.
Those are comments.
We just want to read,
Just want to read a couple, just to give level flavor.
Hold on. Let's do this. I just sent you. I texted you. Yeah.
Georgina Peralta says, "Good evening, Westbury. Congratulations to all scholars honored. Thank you for the budget presentation, Dr. Chase and board members." Ms. Edoni, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Saint Sever. I know I messed that up and I apologize. It appears that she sent emojis and it looks like there are hands clapping. Jennifer Georges says, "Thank you for presenting all of this information for us." And Coco Wanda sends an emoji with a smiley face. Thank you all for your comments.
Thank you. At the start of the question session, I guess, the mini comment section, I said I limited questions to and comments to the voting agenda, but we'll take quickly any comments or questions about anything affecting the school district's operation. Nobody? Lori wants you to hurry up and move on. We'll do that, okay. So I'm going to ask for a block vote to approve all the resolutions on tonight's agenda. But first, I just want to congratulate Mary O'Neill, who I suspect is going to be appointed as our permanent business official. I think the board is in the enviable position, Mary, of unlike most new hires where all you really have to go on is a half an hour or an hour long interview and maybe some comments from prior employers. In this case, we've had the opportunity to observe your work since November, and you have taken us through a transition period. When you had to take over the business office, I was in flux, and you've managed through that, and you have now developed for us what I've characterized as the oldest, most ambitious board budget in Westbury's history. It's going back a long time. We are the oldest school district in all of New York State. But I just want to say this again. This year's budget, assuming that we get the money expected in foundation aid, reduces taxes by $2 million while enhancing the instructional program and also improving our facilities infrastructure. So thank you for that, Mary. And so we will be voting on you as one block vote, but we just wanted to take a moment to recognize you and welcome you to permanent status of the district. Thank you. I don't think any of them are here, but we are also hiring this evening, I think we said 5 TAs. Are any of them here? We typically recognize them. They're not. And we're also hiring some custodians. And she has waited the entire meeting, Ms. Campbell. We are about to vote on your designation. Hopefully you have to vote for this. Thank you for staying with us and for your service. Okay, I now have to help you with this now, Lloyd, our unofficial parliamentarian. I'd like to call for a block vote for items, all the agenda items in sections 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm sorry? 13. What page is that? And add to that, as District Clerk said, the voting items in section 13. Do we have a motion to block vote those items? Been moved by Dr. Dickinson. Do we have a second? Seconded by Trustee Keynes. Ayes. Trustee Keynes?
Aye.
Trustee Bowling? Trustee Dickinson? Trustee Wilson? Trustee Quintanilla? Vice President Ewing? And I, Robert Troiano, vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. May I now have a motion to approve the aforementioned items that were approved for a block vote?
So moved.
Been moved by Trustee Keynes. Do we have a second? Trustee Bowling? Ayes. Trustee Bowling? Trustee Keynes? Trustee Dickerson? Trustee Wilson? Trustee Quintanilla? Vice President Ewing? And I, Robert Troiano, vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. May I now have a motion to go to executive session to discuss items of personnel?
Second. Moved by Dr. Dickinson, second by Mr. Keynes.
Okay. We have a motion to go to executive session? By Dr. Dickinson, do we have a second? Seconded by Trustee Keynes. Aye. Trustee Bowling? Trustee Keynes? Trustee Dickinson? Trustee Wilson? Trustee Quintanilla? Vice President Ewing? And I, Robert Troiano, vote aye. Motion carried. We are now in executive session. Welcome back, everybody. We are now, we've been to executive session. We've dealt with the matters we have to deal with. We're now ready to vote to come out of executive session. Anyone wants to come out of executive session?
So moved.
So moved by trustee King, seconded by trustee Bowling. Ayes, trustee Bowling? Aye. Trustee King? Aye. Trustee Dickerson? Aye. Trustee Wilson? Aye. Trustee Quintanilla? Vice President Ewing? Aye. And I, Robert Troiano, vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. Can I have a motion to adjourn, Robin?
So moved.
I'm sorry, I thought we called it in. But you can have second, okay. Robin moved it, Floyd seconded it. Aye. Where are you going? You haven't adjourned yet. I think I'll go very slowly now. Trustee Bowling. Trustee King. Trustee Dickerson. Trustee Quintanilla. Trustee Wilson, just make sure you're awake. Wilson. Trustee Wilson. Vice President Ewing. And I, Robert Troiano, vote aye. Motion carries unanimously.